Okay, today we have Ana and Taj. Did I get that?
Yes.
There's another friend I have here, and I say her name wrong like all the time too. And Lee's like, I don't know anyone by that name because I
Oh,
mispronounce it.
right.
Yeah.
As a little hint, hint.
So I was practicing your name yesterday at the house. I'm
Aw.
like, Taj, like Taj Mahal.
Right. You got it.
And that was like another thing, right? It's like I'm pretending to be paying attention, but I'm actually not. You know, like when I don't pronounce my friend's name properly.
Right. Someone
And
you
then they correct
care
me.
about, right?
And then I don't like,
take it in.
yeah. I'm so ready for like 500 ego deaths right now.
Be careful what you wish
Okay,
for.
not 500. But I'm really when that explosion, when Lee had his explosion and that change happened in him, and then the change happened in me too, like when all of that happened, and I was like, okay, now your problem is fixed, so now my problem will be fixed. Do you know what I mean? Like it's his problem, and his problem was making my problem.
Oh, that's the fun blame game. Oh. Right.
And then I saw my own. So then the codependence thing came in when I released the relationship,
Right.
and he left, and I was like, "Don't come
You
back."
release
And I felt like
attachment.
this liberation,
Right.
and I didn't even feel like calling anyone for the first time. It was like, wow, I don't even feel like I just went to
An internalized space, like being internal,
yeah,
inward focused.
yeah,
No.
but not really like I put all of his stuff away. I was just like making space for myself,
Right.
and feeling myself in the space and what it wanted to do, and what it wanted to create. I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to make this place like." All of this creativity wanted to come out of that.
Oh, interesting.
Like the liberation, right? So then I was like, okay, tidy this up, and I was like, oh my god, I could put, like, all of a sudden I was like, wow, I could make this place look super cute.
Well,
And the
part of that is
energy-
recognizing you could do that anyhow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right?
And it was like,
Where was this inspiration before?
Right.
Right.
It was like when I first started making cheese, and I was doing my fermentation, and we were living in like, you know, a 8x9 room in a guest house, and I was like, I can't do anything and then I just said,
Broke through.
yeah, and I was like, whatever, I'm gonna make cheese right here.
Right. And look at you
And
go.
it
Look what
did
you
it.
could do. Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, how much time do we all waste like waiting for this perfect scenario to
my.
come, and then
Wow. Waiting to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, you'll be waiting a long time
yeah,
for that one.
so crazy. But I think I was avoiding this internal thing that you're talking about.
Well, I think part of
In a way.
codependency is that avoidance, right? It's safer somehow to focus on someone else, their behavior or their needs or their emotions or their philosophy, whatever it is. It's almost like a safe harbor.
Yeah, and you get addicted to that, and even my the self-pity part, and that's a tough one to talk about.
Well, let's dig in then.
And the me, and the always going to this it's like, when are you gonna just let yourself be healed about I don't know, I need to think about that one a bit more. It's still,
That's still coming together.
yeah. And that's what's crazy about reading the Carlos Castaneda books, and you see where he's stuck.
You see it.
Right.
Right.
And you see, like the Nagual was showing him, like trying to show him, and then he was laughing at him when he couldn't see it. And I feel so much like Carlos sometimes in that sense.
Does that make you feel a little bit defensive in a way?
Yeah.
Like it's a bit, it's exposure, right?
Right. And then when someone starts to talk about the thing that you know is flawed in you, and then I automatically, I'm like, yeah. And it's like, almost like you want to just, like, I want to acknowledge that part, but that's all
But let's
I
just
want
gloss
to do.
that over.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah. I got this. I know. That was my favorite catchphrase as a younger person. I know. Like thinking I'm smarter than everyone, and how dare you, like criticize my intelligence.
Yeah.
That was a tough one. Yeah. It's difficult to look at our own stuff. And so again, if we think about how, if everything is happening for us, maybe in that moment, you're not going to remember that because you're having a moment.
Yeah.
And that's why making that practice of coming back into your stillness, have your moment, like have your emotions. And part of that is having a storm of emotions is it clears a path. You almost feel like a fresh, like a newly born baby afterward.
Mm-hmm.
A good rage or a good cry or whatever. And it's like, wow, I feel rebirthed.
Yeah, that's
in a
what
way.
It was for both of us. Really felt that way. And when Lee came back in, and we had, like, I could feel that energy change in him.
The softness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And receptivity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he could feel that liberation in me of this like, I don't know. There's something so weird about that. That's been a long time for me. Like this fear of being alone. And when I went through my last, like when I had a other big shock in my life, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to be single for like a while. Like I'm done with the whole relationship thing for now. And like I think you can't ever really not be in a relationship.
Oh, well,
it's weird because
for real. I mean, even the relationship with yourself.
Right.
You can't get away from that. So
And
you're always in relationship.
Yeah.
You have the world around you that you're in relationship with. You have your physical space.
Yeah.
The mental space, the emotional, the spiritual. I mean, you're never alone.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know.
Never alone.
And I was running the guest house, so it was like all these people were coming.
Right. Different energies coming in.
Yeah. And connected with a lot of the people.
I think what we mean when we say, because I have also said this joke to myself, oh, I will remain single. I think that what we really mean is, I'm going to heal my relationship with myself.
Yeah.
That's what we really mean.
Yeah. And that was such a big change. It was such a huge opportunity for growth for me. And when I think back to when I moved from Canada and came to Asia, and that person, that woman that got on the airplane with Lee like 11, 12, whatever years ago now, and flew to Bali, and now it feels like this last big explosion and shift that happened. Looking back at that to the shift that happened now, I'm like, wow, it was actually like what I thought was this huge big step actually now looks like this small little.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
That I deceived myself of how much work I'd actually done and how far I'd actually.
Well, I would just say something about that. To be mindful of is the judgments.
Sure.
Right? And like,
but I don't want to, be delusional about where I'm at either.
I think there's an acceptance of I'm never gonna get there. There's no
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
there, and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
never
yeah, yeah,
finished.
yeah. Yeah.
So, and just like there's an acceptance of like life is so messy, and like I love order. If when you come into my physical space, everything is orderly. Even
Mm.
my mental space, like on my devices, everything is orderly, organized, files.
Yeah.
And I love physical mental order.
Mm.
And so it's been a journey for me to get to the point where it's like, oh, life is so messy. And to absolve myself of some of these judgments
Yeah.
because they hurt
Yeah.
and they do not serve anyone,
Yeah.
not me, not anyone else. I have a lot less to offer when I'm under those cloaks of self-judgment.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that, like, oh, I was deceiving myself, okay. Does it matter how much work you've done or not done? I don't know, because it's never done.
Yeah.
It's never done. And you're here now.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
where we are.
Yeah.
And it's pretty magical.
Oh my gosh. Hey.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. This is a sweet spot.
Right.
I'll share about that another time. But we're at the Weaving Center, which felt like a really good place to sort of begin. And I
Begin weaving.
Yes. And weaving is like a computer. It's like the first
program.
computer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There's so many parallels there. So I thought this would be a cool place to start. And I thought, wow, it's like a magical opportunity to have you here. Taj and I met on Quadra Island, British Columbia on the West Coast. We aren't really sure exactly what the year was.
Right.
But
a while ago.
Yeah, I was living there then, and so was she. And yeah,
I think
and
it's
to
very
sort of meet up here
interesting.
again in Lao, it's just crazy.
Right. And our physical paths, our geography has weaved like certain
Yeah.
parallels.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. We
Yeah.
have a few different connections beyond me coming to see you here.
Right.
And Quadra, there's the Saskatchewan connection.
Yeah, crazy.
And the Georgetown connection, Malaysia and Great Exuma, Bahamas. Yeah, it's very interesting, this weaving pattern program.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows, right? The mysteries of life, the synchronicities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what a great
Venue.
all of it.
Metaphor.
Mm. So, yeah, the pity party and the self-sabotage, which is sort of part of that. The part of the I don't know.
I don't want to interrupt if you are searching for the.
No, I'm
right.
Don't worry about interrupting.
Okay. I feel like it goes back to something that you and I were discussing yesterday, and that's the self-worth piece. Right. That we are trained in this physical realm to wait for external validation.
Yeah, I think this is especially for women.
Oh, sure. I mean, I think it's different. I think men do also. It's just, it's in a different realm.
Yeah.
So we wait for it, I guess, emotionally, socially, even physical, like, And then men, it's their worth is so based on their productivity, their job, their career, their, their physical stature, and just like monetary success, like in the success in the material, right?
Yeah.
And also to be an alpha male.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun. Like, so they have their own judgments. It's just different. I wouldn't say that they have less. Theirs is just a little bit different. So this idea of turning that script around and deciding to assign yourself value rather than waiting around and kind of like, I'm a good girl. Please, like, give me some validation. I'll do all the things, and how demoralizing and disempowering that is.
Yeah.
And well, what scraps of worth is someone external going to give you? And you're completely dependent on that. And I'm going to say codependency is largely, tied up with that. And then the pity party also, because there's a part of you that is punishing yourself for not being enough. Yeah. And you feel like you deserve to suffer. Yeah. So there's this, I think, I don't even think I understand the full ramifications of making the decision and changing the program. You're running a new program, right? In that I am not valuable, waiting for someone or something's external validation. I am the value. Yeah. I hold the value. Yeah. And I just think that's a paradigm shift, and everything shifts in your external life. Yeah. Based on that new program you're radiating. You're now radiating a new vibrational frequency. Right.
Yeah. So when I felt that feeling of the codependency, like letting go, when that... It's funny. You're not actually doing anything. You're just like this. The change. I didn't make the change happen. It's like it came through me. The change happened. The shock happened. The change happened, and then it was like you recognize what that change is. Like, oh my God, this is the codependency that I have showing itself here. Because now that it's gone, you feel the liberation from it, and you're like, oh my God, that's what it was. And then when you feel that, then you want, it's like the Carlos Castaneda books where he's like, tell me, okay, you want to go deeper then, but oh my gosh, it's like you can get wound up into, then you're back into the codependency again. You know what I mean? You like see its liberation, and then I'm not saying it right.
I like to say this to myself as a reminder, and to, friends when they're kind of going through it. I'm like, yeah, I think recognizing the issue is 60% of the work. Yeah. I like to say it that way because there's this really frustrating time that you go through where you're like, yeah, I see my patterns. Like, I see how I'm doing these things to myself that are hurtful or painful. Let's say painful. And then there's this time that you float around in the awareness, and yet there's no changes being made yet. And I think that we can really spend time just berating ourselves and judging ourselves and like cracking that whip, like, what is wrong with you? Yeah. And so I like to remind myself and others, that's the biggest part, because you used to operate in total unconsciousness. Sure. Right. So it's like, giving yourself that little, like, I'm assigning myself value. Yeah. I'm recognizing my worth. Good job. Right? Yeah, you did it. You stepped over this. It was a big milestone to get to the point where you recognize, and you might swim around in it for a while.
Yeah.
Messy, messy life.
Yeah.
You're never going to be perfect. There's no point even striving for it, you know. To be
Well,
more authentic, yes.
Yeah. Which you, yeah, there's no, sure. Sure, I can understand where that. I mean, perfect. Like, to not, that doesn't mean you don't strive to be better. It's just that either.
I'm gonna take a little bit of issue with the word strive,
Sure.
only because it's denoting struggle. Right. So like coming into alignment with our fullest authentic expression of self. It's alignment. It's allowance. It's an embodiment, and it's radiating. So there's no stressing and striving and struggling.
Yeah.
Right? It's an allowance. So
It's
that's
like
like
this
it's kind of the same-ish, if you could say it's the
Sure.
same, but it's just tweaking that frequency a little bit to be like, oh, I allow, I align. You see how much softer that feels?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like when Lee was calling, or when I was getting help to sort this all out, and he's like, "Okay, just calm down,"
Right.
because I'm bringing that in, right? And that's that's what gets in the way.
Yeah,
it's like a prime example.
absolutely.
It's like, okay, just take a deep breath and just tell me what you see. You know,
Right.
like no one's gonna come, and
Right.
you're not gonna be in trouble.
Right. There's no one's, there's nobody bleeding on the floor. It's not a high pressure situation.
Yeah.
And that's, I think,
If you did
mastery
it-
comes. So, there's,
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
This is the word
oh.
I like, mastery.
oh, you like the mastery. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, so, there's this huge shift when we realize, oh, what if life is happening for me? And the mastery is when, in the moment of stress and struggle and striving and straining, you go, wait a minute. Let me just disengage. I'm not a master at this. No, I make no claims. I'm saying I've done the 60% work where I'm like, oh, I recognize. And I'm still swimming around in the freak out of the moment, and later on going, oh yeah, I could have just, did a little, let's just pause and do a little 5-minute meditation here.
Yeah.
To
Hey?
reset, the frequency kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not there yet. Sometimes I like to have my little freak out. It's almost like, oh yeah, the drama is kind of fun. Messy, messy life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mastery. I feel in a way I align. I'm like, yeah. Just self-love. Just self-love. If I bring in judgments and think I have to be more healed, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. So just recognizing, I have freakouts. Yeah, I do. Like, and that's fine too. Like, I am in this body. This body has a nervous system.
Sure.
This body has hormones and all kinds of things going on.
Yeah.
It's a fun little dance.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is how I express those dynamics. Right? My unique expression of a freak out.
Yeah.
Or crying my eyes out, or whatever it is, you know? There's something beautiful in our humanity, that messy, messy humanity.
Yeah.
And just reveling in it, because once we pass into the next realm, the next dimension of non-physical being, we won't have any of this.
No, this is what we're here to
This is what it
experience,
is.
actually. All of this. And there's a lot to experience.
Yeah.
There's a lot to feel down here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I was in my chart, I almost have no earth. I'm like
Ooh.
fully water. There's like,
Whoa.
I know, right? And I can I can see the parallel in that in myself, actually. Like how detached I was from my own body,
Right.
and
As a younger person.
right, and having these things going on in my body,
Calling you. Like the pain is like calling. Pay attention to me.
yeah,
Pay attention.
yeah. And I was like, even when I was pregnant, like obviously you're pregnant, but I wish I had the body awareness that I have now. Like I wish I'd have had that then.
I wonder, this is a whole other topic we could discuss for days. Going back to our experiences, and there's the recapitulation piece.
Yeah.
Sure. Rewriting the story,
Mm.
rewriting it, and re-experiencing it the way that rather than looking at it like, oh, like almost like a regret.
Right.
Going back and being like, oh, so this is what this feels like.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're not really you don't actually change the story itself. You just like find the value in it for yourself.
And we might even, I don't know, we might even be accessing another dimension in which was the reality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to weave that, speaking of weaving, I'm just going to weave that into my storyline.
Yeah.
I'll just make a new story for myself.
Yeah.
Right? And I can go back and I can relive it the way that I wanted to, and with my powerful, powerful mind, my powerful, powerful intention.
Yeah. I think with people that have deep trauma, that's probably what's really going on there, is to resolve that is something like that.
Well, I
Or to
think
make peace
that
with
trauma lives in our bodies, and I think we end up reliving it in the negative, in the negative, in the negative, in the negative, over and over and over, and it becomes such a part of our now reality.
Yeah.
Even though this might have happened, many years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
We become ingrained in that story.
Yeah.
So I think, when we talk like the talk therapy, like psychotherapy, where you're just talking, and I'm like, yeah, but they're just retelling that same story again. How many times you retell? Like, you've talked it out. You've told everyone and yourself how many times it didn't make any shifts.
I know, right? But that's what they say. Going to a psychiatrist.
There's different. There's different therapies or whatever.
Yes. But people spend a lot of people spend a lot of time and a lot of money, and they get nowhere.
Right.
A lot.
You know what's fascinating? Seeing as I did actually study psychology in university, not that that makes me an expert. However, I thought one of the most interesting things that I learned, the most telling factor, like predictor of whether or not someone gets a positive result from therapy. It's interesting. It's you wouldn't expect it. In our old world model, we wouldn't expect it. In the new world, you're like, yeah, of course. It's the loving acceptance of the therapist.
Oh, wow.
The non-judgment, the loving space. You are in a safe space.
Yeah.
That is the biggest predictor of your client receiving benefit from that therapy. Fascinating.
Yeah. Because otherwise, how can you open up? Not going to happen.
Right. And you've been judging yourself your whole life, maybe.
Right.
So going in and receiving more judgment.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah, this is an invitation to release those judgments, to put those down for a little while.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, what a... Yeah, what was his name? Because I did so many trips in and out of Hollyhock with so many presenters at Cortez Island.
Right.
Are you familiar with that space? Are you familiar with Hollyhock, that space?
I mean, a bit. I've been there a few times.
Okay. Like, I mean, I'm not...
But I'm not hip on the names either.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the trauma experts that went in there, he did a lot of work with mushrooms, using
psilocybin
for people to feel that safe space
and access it too, because how long have we been living by numbing and distraction?
Well, that's what all of this has been. you're born and you're tricked into not knowing, or not even wanting to explore the place that you're born into. This is why the whole reality of our habitat makes a big difference. Made a big difference to me, because that's like you're born into that deception of a globe.
Oh yeah.
And you don't need to explore anything, because we already know, we've already been there. And there's nothing to see, there's nothing new to discover.
Well, and then,
which isn't true.
You take that into the micro, and it's not wanting to explore this.
Right.
This and this. Like,
right.
we become comfortable in the soup of the mind.
Sure.
But the mind is so harmful sometimes, and so confused. And telling itself lies.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we're born into, so you're born into that lie of your creation story. Our creation story has been totally effed with, and we're born into this lie of, like, you're living on a ball, flying through infinite space, and your life, you're just a speck, and
the lie that you're just a physical being.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
That's all you are.
Yeah.
Your 5 senses. That's it. That's the culmination of the essence of you, and then you die. It's like, really? When I believed that as a younger person, I wanted to die.
Yeah, hey?
There was nothing to live for. That's what this life is?
Yeah.
Oh, go to school, get a degree, get a career, get married, have kids.
Material,
buy the house, have the stuff.
Just
get a
all
nicer
material.
car, get a boat.
Yeah.
Go on trips and put them on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, that's all there was to live for.
And then the bumper sticker, he who dies with the most toys wins.
Oh, I've never seen that. That's gross.
Isn't that crazy?
That's hilarious.
Like, yeah, that's what it's gotten to, right?
Oh, yeah, the superficiality.
Yeah.
So, yeah, me wanting to basically escape the physical reality, there was a breakthrough there. So I felt like I was just falling down through into this darkness, and I fell through it. Like, when I succumbed to that, when I surrendered, and I was like, yep, I surrender. Like, I don't know what to do here. I don't have the answers. I am nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I emptied.
Yeah.
I emptied. And there was nothing I wanted to accomplish in the physical world. And when I let go and released and surrendered, I fell through the darkness and back into the light, reborn as an awakened soul. I'm getting chills as I say this. And recognizing that everything is energy.
Yeah.
Everything is love.
Yeah. You're 60%.
Right. I still swam around in the confusion and the angst, obviously. Still do at times. But now I laugh. I have my moment. And then I laugh like, oh, God. Like, life, messy life. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
When you're not judging yourself, it's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. And assigning ourselves value, regardless of how well we're doing, how much of the work we've done, or how good we are, or whatever, how enlightened we are. Ha, ha, ha. Big jokes, It's like assigning myself value just because.
Yeah.
Just because. Yeah, and that's beautiful, and that's where the love comes in. That's where the heart comes in. That's where the joy comes in. It's all the judgments fall away, and what's left? Just being.
Swimming in the sea of awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's liberation.
Yeah.
Don't need anything.
Yeah.
I don't need air, really, because I'll just pass on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I don't need anything. I may have desires.
Sure.
I'm still in this body. Right? I have desires.
But not to get caught up into the
need.
Cling.
Clutch.
The lust,
the straining,
and the desire,
the striving,
and
the stressing.
There. Yeah.
Allowing, allowance, alignment, allowance, alignment.
Yeah.
Alignment, allowance. It's just words, it's just letters, and yet the feeling behind them is the revolution.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. after that explosion, not to go back, I don't want to I don't want to actually make that too much, like always go back to it, but
Well, it was a
it broke something
Right.
in both of us.
right.
Like Lee was trying to break my assemblage point open, and he ended up breaking his own open
Right.
in the process, which was
I think that's just kind of the inevitable, right? The energy
Yeah.
in, energy out, the
yeah,
what
yeah,
goes
yeah.
in must come back around sort
Yeah.
of thing.
And when he came back and we like had felt each other's new
Right.
vibe, and then we were like, okay,
We can speak now.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not just the, yeah, and then like you're saying, wanting like trying to keep yourself, that not keep yourself, but allow that feeling of that, because you get that moment of clarity too,
Right. That
and like
newborn.
stretching that out, like okay, let's stretch this out, let's see how long we can stretch this out.
Right.
And so that's why we're like, okay, let's change things up. Let's not do, we should do a live because the last one was just so nuts. We're like, okay, let's pack up and go into town and, change all of the,
Change the scenery.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's
And then the light bulb exploded
right.
and burst into blue in half, and a little tiny LED light bulb. It was like
that's
3
so odd.
watt
Right.
light bulb. These things are supposed to be like
Right.
blue in half.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Exciting times here on this earth plane. Exciting times.
Fucking crazy.
I think it's very brave to be in the same environment with the same person or persons and decide we're going to do things differently.
Yeah.
I think that's very brave. And there's, that brings me back to there's 60% part.
Yeah.
Like, you've got the awareness and recognition, the consciousness now.
Yeah.
And there's could be a little bit of the swimming around and but we know better now. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other crazy part of it is we have better tools now too. Like this whole the Castaneda books, there's a lot of value in there, and then the Tasha Abelard.
Right. I'm on chapter 10, almost done chapter 10.
Yeah, and Joel Schaffner. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Yeah,
You can put links in the thing, right?
Preceiver. He's got a channel on YouTube. When I heard him speak, I was just like, thank you.
Is he the one that spoke about the grave?
Yeah.
Okay. I
I'm
did
freaking
really
getting
like
a shovel,
that.
man.
I really love that idea of
Yeah.
gifting the earth our pain, like as compost.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. I bequeath this to you.
Yeah.
This gift, because letting that go, it's not easy. Like, it's part of our identity. So ego death. Gifting the earth our pain, our story of pain.
Yeah.
Which is really wrapped up into, who do I know myself to be?
Yeah.
If I take
And
away
wrapped
my
into the
story of
self-pity.
pain,
Yeah.
who am I? Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
And that was it. I was like, oh my God, all this, when Lee liberated himself of that anger,
Right.
I was like, oh my God, who is this person now?
Right.
And then who am I without his anger?
Ooh. Exploration time. Messy, messy life.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a beauty in not knowing the answers. There's a beauty in just being,
Yeah.
discovering.
Yeah.
And it's messy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is your computer doing these blips?
Lee just sent a message. He's like,
Oh, okay. I thought it was like your battery dying or something.
Right. She's saying that because you don't have the headphones, you don't know when you're...
Oh, my mouth is
voice.
probably moving away. Right.
Yeah, and if you go
Right.
if you tilt it a bit like this, then the sound of...
My hand is going numb. from clutching this thing. Speaking of stressing and straining.
Yeah, switch it up. So instead of talking
I'll just rest my chin against it, and then it's kind of, I know where it is at all times.
Yeah, and you can even tip it away a little bit so that the moisture from your breath like kind of can bypass it a little bit. That's better. I'm also getting used to this. I've never done the mic thing.
Right.
You can see musicians, they're like,
oh gosh,
you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, wow.
I've done the karaoke, and I'm like ready to belt it out, and I'm like, oh yeah, like Celine Dion goes like this. I don't know. I'm making it up. I don't know what she does.
Really belting it out.
Right.
Because she knows if.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, because if she really freaking, I wonder if you can break a mic. Like,
oh gosh.
I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, these people with voices, they can project like that. It's crazy.
I used to have to sing over the drum circle. No
wow.
mic, just me.
Yeah.
Belting it. Yes. I learned that on the stage, I think. The belly breath. Like breathing and then not singing from your throat, right?
Yeah.
Or your head. I guess they call it head singing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
So it's basically like you both have an opportunity to be whole new versions of yourself and rewrite the story. Like, take control.
Yeah,
You're the programmer.
Even thought of that. I never thought that was going to happen.
Right.
And for a while, like after it sort of first happened and then the breakthrough happened, I was like, part of me was like, okay, just let's delete everything. And then I thought, wait a minute.
Is that the true authenticity I'm looking for?
I just went through all of that. Like, both of us just went through all of that. We're just going to put it, like, I don't know. It's just push past the awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
And the live really does something. This morning, too, I was just like, when I got up in my head, what I thought was going to happen. And, like, I don't know if Lee kind of picked up on that vibe from me and then just decided to, like, toss me a curveball.
Let's keep things interesting.
Yeah. Because I was like, okay, I'm got my this plan this morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna chill out this morning, shopping. And Lee's gonna talk about the stars and astrology, and it'll be a light
I'll just
morning.
sit back in the passenger seat.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, it's Anna's show today. He like puts his mic out of his mouth,
and you're like,
what?
You're caught in the headlights. Right?
Literally deer in the headlights, like,
and I wonder if there's some magic to that.
Yeah.
The spontaneity, right?
Yeah.
Not having anything planned.
Right. And I kept thinking to myself, like, and then you have this huge thing of vulnerability that you have to get over.
Yeah, exposure.
And then you have, it's not you have to, but you don't have to do anything. So then you want to get over the vulnerability, but then you're right there live.
Yeah.
Okay, get over the vulnerability. Like, it's so bizarre. It's such a bizarre scenario to put yourself into.
Right.
But that's kind of almost what it takes, right? Like, that's why the sorcerers would they would go into the forest and put themselves into bizarre situations.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, here it is. Here's your bizarre situation.
Fun. Good times.
And yeah, that's I don't know any faster way to, for me anyway. I'm like, okay, this is a freaking accelerated version.
Absolutely. Like therapy.
Yeah.
And you shared with me that you had done a live where you were just, totally in your vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And just sharing, some of your pain. And I had done that myself a number of years ago. I was cleansing. And, at first, so optimistic. It was like a 30-day thing. And at first, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a cleanse. Yeah. And I don't know. I think it was day 12. And I was just like, it's all coming up. Who am I when I can't fill my void with food? Right? I don't know who I am. And that speaking at the time, speaking to myself, it's like a mirror. And I just had so much compassion You know, there's the little me who's caught up in all the emotions and in pain. I'm going to call it pain. And then there's the wiser, loving me who's like, oh, you know, love you. Just that ever present, loving compassion.
Yeah.
You know, and having those both simultaneously, the awareness
my
of both
gosh.
is like such a transformative, like, speaking of therapy. So
Yeah.
here you are actually sharing it in front of, I mean, it could be one person, it could be a million.
It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't, it's
actually,
irrelevant.
I don't even look.
Right, that's irrelevant.
I actually don't even look. And at this point, I'm doing that on purpose because
Right. You don't want that
just-
external influence because this is
yeah,
your
it's
internal
already
process.
actually quite complicated.
Right.
And when people ask questions like, what is the point of, I did read a little bit and I did reply once, but what is the point of this? I'm like, yeah, good question.
Excellent question.
Don't even know if I'm ready to even answer yet because I actually did.
Right.
I
That's
actually,
a good question.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
This is worth exploring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the intention, like the white phoenix was like that was sort of Lee's birthing, right? It's his channel.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm there, I'm a part of it, but I don't know, you put something
The
like,
intention.
yeah, and his intention into it. I mean, I have an idea of what it is, but you can only know for yourself,
Right.
You can't
You're,
know for
you're
someone
seeing
else.
everything through your own filters.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And well, the purpose of all of this is to sort all this out and heal from all of this make peace.
We're deprogramming.
Yeah, we
basically.
really are. Everybody has been everybody is in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's a lot of non-players. What do they call it? NPCs. Non-person characters.
NPC, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Non-personal character.
So we don't have to worry about it. I get it. You know,
No,
there's
and
lots of that there.
I love the idea of everyone's just me anyway. They're all just me. They're just different versions of me. Right? It's all just me.
Yeah.
You know, and when you have a conflict with someone, it's like that's that invitation to go in. This is all happening for me.
Yeah. And what a beautiful gift.
What a beautiful gift. I don't have to change you,
No.
control you,
Yeah.
right?
No.
You're me anyway.
Yeah.
Be free. Like that's what I want to tell myself. Be free.
Yeah.
Embrace the joy, embrace the messy journey.
Yeah.
It's short.
And
It's short.
the whole truth community that's like, okay, we got to wake people up, and sure,
Do we? I mean, I
whatever.
don't know that
but
that's
I
our
think
job.
it's more catching, like not catching, but creating a community for them to join.
See, and you see how that's different.
Yeah.
So being you and your authentic truth and
Yeah.
just radiating that,
Yeah.
you're creating a safe space for those who want the information.
Yeah.
We don't have to go out. Besides which, when you do that people shut down.
No, I know.
You can't do that. There's
know.
no receptivity there. They're being
Right.
clobbered by the truth, and they're like,
Right.
it's
And that's what
scary."
the whole thing boils down to, right? The truth doesn't come until you're ready to see it.
Exactly. They have to be in alignment and allowance.
Yeah. And this is why school is so weird, right?
Oh, totally weird.
Because it's like you don't have a choice of what you're learning
No.
today.
Here's some boring, useless crap.
Yeah. I'm going to pass you this piece of paper for you to trace the letter
Regurgitate.
A.
Right. Yeah.
When I saw my son come home with that, like 3 years in a row,
This brilliant boy.
I was like, who was printing his name perfectly, like the penmanship better than the school. You know, some teachers have like this beautiful
Oh,
penmanship.
yeah.
That was Angus, like from the
Wow.
first time he wrote his name,
Yeah.
basically.
You have this brilliant
He
being,
never
and
scribbled.
then you're just like giving him.
I know.
such
I said that to I
rudimentary-
said that I made an appointment with the principal before I pulled him out of school, and I said, you know, I would hope that if I was the teacher and
I would
saw
see-
that how he was printing his
Right.
name, tip off, that maybe he doesn't
That
need
I could
to
adapt
trace the letter A again.
to his level of
Right. Like,
understanding.
you're going to slide that piece of paper across the
Right.
table to that kid?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Grade 2. Kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2. I was like stunned. And before he started kindergarten, he was in Montessori pre-kindergarten and when we were living in Yellowknife.
Right.
And so that was my first experience of an education
Right.
system for my child, like as witnessing it in my own child, not my own
Right.
experience of the education system. And so when we moved and there was no Montessori and we went to kindergarten, but I was like, oh, it's Quadra Elementary. It'll be better.
Oh, it'll be amazing and
yeah.
magical. Everything
This is
about
gonna
Quadra
be
is so
super.
magical. Yeah.
Not.
Yeah. It's still
that
full of
was-
humans.
Yeah, and that was my first kind of awakening to. I realized that when I was taking him there and he was going through the doors, it was like I had blind faith.
So that was a wake up for you also.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And that's when I did the deep dive into child psychology and started reading
fun stuff.
Howard Gardner. Do you know that name? Wow. Because Howard Gardner is he's a lot of his stuff is in university level.
I mean, I could have.
But
The thing is, I really just took like the essence of what I learned and I forgot everything. You know what I mean? Facts and figures. I was like, no.
This is the thing about learning. When you get into the school, then you fall into that curriculum. And when you self-study, you're like, oh, what interests me? And it's like you dig your teeth into it deeper because there's more resonance there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Open school. That's how you do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that digesting the essence of a learning experience is so much more important to me. I know there are people that can like rattle off.
Oh my God.
You know, and I'm like,
Lee
okay,
is
I love that. Yeah, those people with those minds, that's amazing. I definitely have appreciation for that.
Yeah.
I do not have that.
Oh, oof. It's even that kind of feels overwhelming to like, I actually just got nauseous. I'm like, I can't even.
Yeah. Yeah. How I like all my stuff filed and organized, like my brain too. So I'm like, yeah, too much.
Yeah.
Filter out. Give me the essence.
Yeah.
And I'll hang on to that.
But my bad part here is, and it's like where I'm bad at listening. Because I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, I got it.
Oh,
I got
I know.
what you want to say about me that's bad. Right. I got it. I'm going to work on it. Okay. Did you hear me? Okay, let's move on. And it's
Moving
like that
on.
too with the tech stuff. Lee's like calling me out on it. And he again.
Okay.
And when I was on he's like, okay, just calm down and just tell me what you see. And, repeating his questions. Did you even hear the question that I just asked you? Because I'm so worried that I'm going to do it
forward.
Right.
Yeah. And again, that the mastery, we're not there yet. We know this. The mastery is I'm off center.
Yeah.
It's not going to go well.
Yeah.
I need to recenter.
Yeah.
But there's this panic. We get into this panic emotions, like things are firing.
Yeah.
Adrenaline.
Yeah.
Cortisol, whatever, what have you. Your physical system is now being overwhelmed. And the frontal lobe, it's just can't, there's no voice. It has no voice. So to be like, wait, remember, I am not there yet. I just know, I know what I could do. Right? So I laugh. It's like, okay, oh Lord, we're hilarious. Like I'm watching myself have a freak out knowing full well I could change it.
Oh, mental.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like checking to make sure everything is still rolling well.
And seeing as we're how long into our thing.
I know, right? Can you imagine if it's... Well, Lee kind of was checking in a bit there.
The conversation is still relevant just for our sake.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally happy to be here. I love that it can be like this. Like, that we can share. But yeah, I'm happy either way. And the view is fantastic. I love the vibe of this place.
I really love it here.
Yeah. You were saying you might come back next winter. You're saying you might come back next winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that so easily. I had already opened myself up to that idea from my experience in Chiang Mai. And it's not like the city part of Chiang Mai that got me. It was the I don't know, the trees and these old structures that are ancient. And I hadn't been around that as a North American.
Yeah.
Right. So that was magical. And then coming here, having the peacefulness, I have those same experiences with peacefulness, which is nice. Not all the traffic and...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is a different pace. Pace here.
Absolutely.
Totally.
I mean, my hometown was 800 people in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
And
same here, kind of.
Other than going to school...
Unity, Saskatchewan.
Right. Other than going to school... My choice is always living in small communities. Like Quadra would be one of the larger communities I ever lived in. And even then, I always lived in the woods somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah. I like to avoid the people and go out when I'm, I like to go internal and process my stuff.
Yeah.
The last thing that I ever want to do is go out into the world and throw my stuff onto people, knowing full well I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
It really has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
But you're in my way. You're in my way.
Yeah.
My way. Right? Oh, my way. Okay, funny. Big jokes. Anyhow, so I love that retreat. Retreat. Do the work. Cry, scream, journal, meditate, dance it out, sing it out, drum it out. Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Fast, cleanse.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. And for me, when I hear you... because you have this time, like the people that are single, like alone or whatever, like live by themselves, and that space that they have that they're familiar with. I've never really actually experienced that. Actually,
like living alone. Oh, I love it. So luscious.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying to Lee. I'm like, I feel like I need to go like
have
away
a little
and
vacation
be in the cave. I want to do the cave thing.
I love the cave thing.
And
I'm down with the cave.
Yeah, and which is great. Okay, great. And I can go and do that.
You'll still have to come back.
Yeah.
To life.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't hide in there forever.
Right, and it's not even about like. There's times in people's lives where there is no choice.
No. You have to create that cave. And
like I keep thinking of
yourself.
Right, and I keep thinking of Jason Brashears, who did
Right.
all of his work in prison.
Okay, thank you. In a terrible, horrible, violent, unsafe environment.
Yeah.
So.
And how he mentally.
Yeah. Disassociated himself from that in order to do some really amazing work.
Right.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, this is the perfect scenario.
You don't need
this scenario that you're living
cave.
Right now is the perfect scenario for you to do the work.
This is the cave, right? Going inside.
Right. Yeah.
The thing is, in our culture, and I don't know if this is a human thing or a cultural thing, so I'll leave it up to, I don't know, whomever to decide that. We're seeking externally so much.
Well, we've been kind of got tricked
geared
into
doing that.
Yeah,
so,
the material world.
So creating I like this metaphor, the cave. Creating this cave, this safe, quiet space within, it does not come well, it is quite natural. We've just been, programmed out of it.
Yeah.
So reconnecting, and that's what this deprogramming is. It's deprogramming from what we've had shoved into our minds and bodies and hearts, and then allowing and aligning to our authentic self. We're not going outside to find it.
Right. It's already there.
Right. So we clear out the stuff, and that's your recapitulation work is like we are clearing out the stuff so that we have enough internal space to align with our authentic truth.
Yeah.
To hear it, to know it, to feel it, to embody it, to radiate.
Yeah. That's the morphic resonance.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think going back to, earlier in my journey, I was like, I gotta save the planet.
I
Right?
went through that phase.
Right, and it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts because you feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Every time you look out and you see whatever, I don't even want to get into it, but every time
it's everywhere.
it hurts. It hurts your soul.
Yeah.
And I actually have had dreams where I am Jesus. Yeah, this is crazy martyr stuff, right? So carrying the archetype
Yeah.
and punishing myself for not saving the people. Wow, the pain of that. That doesn't feel good. And maybe lifetimes of it, right?
Yeah.
So realizing that creating a platform, so I could just say you being you is the platform.
Yeah.
This channel is a platform. However it manifests, you being you doing the work, you being the
Right.
happiest, healthiest version of you
Yes.
is creating a platform for other people to see that light, that beacon, and be like, oh, she knows something. She's figured something out, right?
Yeah.
So then people want to come to your platform, which could just be face-to-face conversation, whatever. I'm just using that as a metaphor, the platform.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go out
No.
and educate and save.
No.
You just need to be you.
No, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Align and allow.
Yeah, that's the only way. That's actually the only way. And there's no other way than to actually do the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other part of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can fake it. There's people that do.
Ha. Ha ha. Jokes.
And I think part of, if I'm being like brutally honest, when we first started this, I had a little ego death, definitely, for sure.
Right.
Because where I thought I was a few days even ago,
Right.
and to now I'm like, ooh, a little reality check there.
Right.
A little reality check there. And knowing what tools are, having the tools and understanding the tools, and coming online, oh, here's the tools and these are the things, but not actually doing it for yourself.
Right. And that's everything is happening for you. So
Yeah.
even you projecting like, oh, I've got it all together, like jokes, because something or someone will come to mess that up for you.
Yeah.
Inevitably for you,
Yeah.
for your growth. So I think that realization is just huge. I think it catapults us forward in our
Definitely.
authenticity.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. This
For
is
sure.
not happening to me. I am not a victim.
Yeah.
I am not a victim.
And it's been an interesting, the whole journey. It's like, your intention, and Mother Nature works in mysterious ways, even if it's not super, even if you can't articulate it or whatever, like the intention that you set here, it comes through your vibrational escrow, if you
can't
will.
hide it.
Right. And so things have been happening all around me, and they always have been. It's just I'm like picking up on them now. I'm like, oh my gosh, this.
You've created more space,
Mm-hmm.
right? But as we are deep programming, we're creating more space.
Yeah.
Now, I like to get all excited and talk about the reprogramming,
Yeah.
but there's a whole lot that happens. There's that's 60%,
Yeah.
the awareness, and now we're swimming around in like we're babies again.
Right.
Right.
Which is
Messing it all up.
yeah.
And there's that forgiveness. There's the assigning myself value just for being this messy thing.
Yeah.
That's hey, we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Stumbling along, making mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oops, loving myself anyway.
Yeah.
I am valuable. I don't even like the word valuable, right? Because that it suggests that there's an external thing that has assigned me value. Right. So I have the value. I am intrinsically worth allowing myself to be myself, right? So as we deprogram, we have to sit in that neutrality. There's sort of a void that we swim around in that can be scary.
Sure.
It can be upsetting.
Yeah.
That's the ego death of like, well, now who am I?
Right.
And how do I
yeah.
do the thing?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's upsetting.
The mask was a thing for me too, getting over that, because I was wearing the mask. Like, I actually thought I still believed
I didn't
in
know. I thought you
germs.
meant metaphorically. Like,
Well, it's sort of
okay, they go
it
together. All right,
yeah,
the
there's
physical and the
right.
metaphor. Okay,
So I still believed in, like, I thought germ theory wasn't a theory. I thought it was actually a thing.
right.
And I didn't realize that these masks only kept the drool from coming out of your dentist's mouth and falling into yours and it being awkward. You know, like, I thought that actually did something.
I did think it was pretty dumb right from the beginning. Like, we're still breathing the same air. I don't get it. Like, unless you have an oxygen tank on your back.
Exactly.
This is ridiculous. I'll follow your stupid rules so that I can go into the grocery store and get my stuff. But the moment I come back out, that mask is off.
Yeah.
You know?
And when we were
And
out,
I won't be happy about it.
yeah. And when we were out, Lee was like, you know, when we came into all of that and through our masks, you know, you feel ridiculous. You know, you feel ridiculous. You feel stupid.
Right.
For ever putting that on.
Well, there was a lot of pressure. I mean, you couldn't go into the grocery store.
No,
you couldn't
there was
do
this
the things.
lie. There was this whole lie tied behind it. Even though I knew, you know, like, when they were fogging in the subway stations, I'm like, how are we supposed to live here if this is what we need to do in order
and
to
stay indoors. Don't go out and get any vitamin D or, like, nature.
I know. I said it was
ridiculous.
Like what was the term I used? Keeping you away from that which makes
you whole.
Not you whole, but
the healing agents of nature.
The connection to life, you know, keeping you separate from that which makes living possible. Separating you from that which makes living possible. Putting the mask on. Separating you from what? Not going out in nature. Separating you from
disconnecting
that which makes
from friends and
possible.
family.
Yeah. Separating you from that which makes living possible.
Absolutely.
So mad to me.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about all of the other stuff. And so that's why I was like, oh my God, this whole thing is like, how can that be a thing that's going to make you whole or better? And that's a healthier thing. All of it started to not resonate with me. And then, the truth started to come out. But my point is, I felt so awkward then not wearing the mask.
You felt awkward not?
Yeah, it wasn't awkward. It was like fear. Like, I didn't want the lady to feel like I was this thing bringing.
Well, and there was some of that, like walking down the street. So I am outside. Nobody can tell me that as I'm walking outside by myself. You can't tell me.
Ridiculous.
So then somebody walks past and, you know, they're like giving the evil eye and I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing. It's like, well, sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, walk around me, I guess. I don't know.
But it's how many people, like, this is the thing that people get caught up in. They're not wearing the mask for themselves.
Are people still wearing masks in the world?
Yeah.
I mean, I see random people around here sometimes.
Yeah.
The thing is, Asians were wearing masks before this, so I never knew if that was air pollution.
You never saw
Not like this. Yeah, I got you. But like back in North America, are people still wearing masks?
I have no idea. I'm just like,
I think I did see. No, wait, I saw some in the airport. I remember seeing some people in the airport, like more than anywhere else. But I guess that's just because we're all coming together and we're going and coming from who knows where, and fear.
Yeah, and that was it. That was like the fear in me. Like, I was like, no, I have to put it on because she's gonna.
I don't want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's like going to the beach. Like, I'm gonna strip down. I want to strip down.
Yeah.
But I don't want to make anybody else feel uncomfortable. Right? What if we all are sitting there feeling that same way?
Exactly.
Loudspeaker. Who wants to get naked? Come over to this side of the beach. The fun side.
And then then it's like, okay, who out here is actually wearing this thing
because they feel fear, and who is doing it because of social pressure?
Yeah.
Right.
It's just all garbage, and then you're taking part in that, right?
Yeah.
When you're putting it on, and Lee's like, okay, I'm not being with someone who can't have the freaking courage to take this fucking thing off your face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're signing up for so many things. Like as soon as you have a currency in your pocket, you're signing up. right? Like there's more than just the mask. I mean, the whole thing, it's such a sham, you know, and we're participating in it.
Right.
At this point in time, we don't have the answers how, well, we do. You could go create a little collective, have all our own, whatever we need to sustain our human existence. And that sounds magical and wonderful. We might still need something outside of the community every once in a while. And then what?
Yeah, I think it all still works, but it's like when you think tribal community,
right.
It's not a problem.
Right. Well, yeah, there was still issues, intertribal warring, whatever. Yeah, we're human. No matter where you go, there we are. Messing things up. Judging others. Judging ourselves.
But it's the lies that have gotten humanity into the soup that they're in right now, not the truth, or not you know who we really
but
are.
Again, like
when all this material world creates a whole bunch of issues.
Yeah, when I let myself off the hook from feeling this pressure, drive, need to save the planet, others, you know, when I let myself off the hook from that, it liberated me in so many ways.
Yeah.
So many ways to be free. And I laugh now. I laugh every day. I'm laughing. I'm laughing. Just me. I mean, it's just me. I'm making jokes in my own head, laughing at myself and thinking, I'm so hilarious. Like life is so ridiculous. Like all of this is so, you know, it's hilarious. So I love reminding myself that it's all just a hologram, you know. Here I am playing this role in my avatar and making the most of it. Have
fun
and as an invitation to others to make the most of it, you know.
And I went through that phase of not just saving the environment, but because I thought it needed to be saved. Now I'm like, okay, the environment is totally okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was all caught up into a whole bunch of lies about the environment.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, now I kind of, because I've been uncovered some of the big lies, I'm very suspect to what I'm seeing. Like
you're
the picture that's
now.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, what do I know for myself?
Holding this mic is an issue.
I know. It's heavy, eh?
It's heavy.
We need to do the stand thing, but it's a lot more compact to just bring it like this. Otherwise, I have two more.
Oh, absolutely.
Stands.
No, this is fine.
And the home studio is different with.
Yes.
So when you peel away, when a few of those lies got peeled away, it was like it's a liberating thing, like that I didn't need to worry about the environment. It's like, oh,
absolutely, yeah. That just feels painful, and then you're raging and lamenting against systems, against politicians, against corporations, against other humans. Like you're just raging and lamenting back and forth, and it's so disempowering.
Yeah.
And then you just don't even want to be here.
Sure.
It's just like, oh, this is all too much, and I can't, you know. I just
you
can't.
Can see how people fall.
Oh my gosh.
Really hard that way.
Oh my gosh. And then you're not shining. You're not shining your light.
No.
And you're not being that beacon for others. You're not sharing a platform of authenticity because you're so caught up in the pain.
Yeah.
And obsessing. You know, we get obsessed about these things. So liberating ourselves from that. What if you don't have to be, do, or have anything? What if it's all a choice? Like I wake up every day and I get to choose. Every day I get to choose. Like that's liberating.
Yeah. Yeah. And I realized that a lot of the things that I was doing in my life, sure, they were, you could label it as like environmentalism or whatever. But in the end, like after I let go of that thing of saving the environment because it didn't need to be saved, I was like, wow, well, these things still remain. like the composting. And
Because you love them.
yeah, and because it's just like harmonic. It's my way to connect.
And since you have no earth in your chart, really, that's your
Yeah,
earthing,
it's
right?
really crazy, hey?
And that day, that, you know,
I'm like,
tasks
oh, this
that
is
take
why.
the physical, like, you can only do one thing at a time, and your body only moves so fast, and the step-by-steps of it,
Mm-hmm.
and the, you know, the routine of it, it's all very grounding.
Yeah.
Super earthy.
Yeah.
And you're literally creating more earth.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so
It's
crazy.
beautiful.
Nuts. And that's really what shocked me when I did the humanure for the first time. I was like, what?
This is magical. How does not everyone know about this?
I'm like,
Well, when you said to me,
And then I
well,
was
we don't even
thinking-
need the toilet. And I was like, because I've been thinking, you know, conservationist, right? Like lover of the environment, toilet paper and
Oh my
flushing,
God. Oh my
water,
God.
all that water, all
And
that toilet paper.
And just it's like, where does it go?
Oh, yeah. That's a whole other issue.
Yeah. So what did they
What is
call
happening to
the
that?
thing in your front yard? If
Septic tank.
that's septic.
Yeah. Right.
A whole tank of it
So, you know,
in the front yard.
just you and I,
Vibration.
you think about all the life hacks that we've figured out, whether that's on a personal or like this, these life hacks that we've had, like, we have all the answers. That's the thing.
Yeah. There's
We
so many
have
tools.
all of the answers already. We,
Yeah.
you know, we spend all this time lost and confused. I don't know. Yeah, no, we have all the answers.
Yeah.
We're not implementing them all. Hey, that's
Yeah.
60%, right? We've recognized the issue, and now we're going to swim around in the soup of not knowingness for a little while we
Yeah.
figure out, okay, how do we implement this?
Yeah.
And forgiving ourselves for that also.
Yeah. And doing the work.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have the tools.
Right.
It's another thing to
Use them,
actually
implement
do the
them.
work.
Yeah.
And you know, when we went to do the live this morning, it was again awkward for me, and we had to do a second take. And Lee's like, you know, so before we went back on, he's like, so did you do any body work? And I was saying to him, I'm like, well, I stretched while I was lying in bed. Like, I can't really qualify that as body work, right?
So for you, is body work that thing that's like bringing you into your center?
Yeah, and the body work is also like it's part of the whole recapitulation thing, the
Okay.
energy body. Tuning
So
the
that's what
energy
he
body.
meant when he said, have you done any body
Right.
work? Okay.
And he does.
Right.
Like, he does his magical passes.
Right.
And when he's doing them, like, we're right on top of each other in our little farmhouse. And I'll see him doing that, and it's like, he's like, that's an opportunity for you to join me.
Right. Here's the space being created.
And I
Shy away from it?
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And he's like, you're making it.
Is that because you want to do it privately? Like, is there something about not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's just
Right.
it. And I saw that this morning when he's like, okay, let's do it right
Let's
now.
do
And he
it
pushes
right
the mic
now
out of the way,
on
and I was just
camera. Right.
he's like, let's see you do some right now. And I wanted to sob.
Which you could have.
And it kind of did happen that way.
Right.
I have a really hard time. You pretty much know how I'm feeling. I'm
Right.
pretty bad at faking it, actually.
Yeah, you're great at being authentic with your emotions.
When I was a little kid and we were going to the movies, and my sister's like, okay, you're gonna have to tell her that you're old enough to go, or she's not gonna let you in. And then I got there, and she was like, how old are you? And I was like,
You couldn't lie.
no.
Well, that's all your water. That's all your water, right? All those water placements. Which
so
is a
everybody got
gift.
to go to the theater, and I walked home by myself. I'm like
Crying.
"Ugh."
Oh boy.
Anyway, it's fine. I'm just saying.
That's a gift. How many people don't have access to their emotions? They've been numbing out and distracting themselves for so long. It's a gift, I've asked my body. Now,
had to
be careful
tone
what
some
you
of that
wish
video.
for, right? I've asked
Yeah.
my body before, body, like, it'd be great if you could give me some instant feedback. Like, if I put some potato chips in my mouth and then there's like an instant, like, no, warning, don't do it. But there's none. I don't have any. I know mentally this is not good for me.
Yeah.
But there's no physical maybe after
It's
a long
pretty
time, I don't know.
incredible. It's pretty incredible what we can put into our mouths.
That's
and
what I'm
still
saying.
make it through all
Right.
this. It's nuts.
Right. So I'm actually blessed. I could go out. Actually, one of my friends said once, and this was powerful. I did take this to heart. Because, I've gone through different stages of being like ultra clean
Sure.
with my eating and whatever.
Mm.
And it ends up hardening my mind to a point. There's a rigidity.
Mm.
So, like, yeah, you're eating healthy, but your mind is full of shit,
Yeah.
right? With all those judgments you're carrying.
Yeah.
So he said he kind of follows what he terms the ninja diet. I was like, oh, well, ninja, I like this. It sounds cool. He said, yeah, well, I incorporate some crap foods on a regular enough basis that my body isn't going to freak out
Yeah.
if I come into contact with it. Like,
Yeah.
I call it the eat what you can get diet when you're traveling.
Yeah, kind of. It's like that.
Well, you
for
can
sure.
plan to just fast for a few days, and sometimes
Yeah.
you can do that.
It's the plasma therapy really kicked that to a new
Right.
level, eh?
Right.
I'm like, ooh, there's some liberation there.
Right.
Like, yeah, you
Not
can,
that dependency on food, the fear of
God.
not having enough food, and where
Yeah.
does that come from?
I'm gonna starve to death.
Right.
No, you're not.
Right.
It's gonna
Like,
take you quite a
Just
while.
like our bodies can handle so much crap, actually, and
Yeah.
keep ticking. Also, we need very little.
That's
like on the other side of that
biggest
coin.
thing of the first long fast I did. I was like, wow, we are all addicted to food.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All of us.
100.
All of us.
100.
And I was shocked at how little that I actually needed, not just to stay like
No, to thrive.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was healthier
Right.
without all of
your
that.
energy, your clarity.
And that's like that's a tip off, right? It's
Right.
like and then the plasma on top of that. I'm like, okay, now we got something. The body is magical.
Yeah.
The body is magical.
I still have not had. So, as I've shared with you, my skin is feeling amazing. And that's already revolutionary for me. Just like that was just like, yep. And that's immediate.
Yeah,
It's
hey?
immediate. So I was like, yep, I subscribe, right?
Yeah.
Sign me up. The internal, no, I don't have any sense that I'm drinking it every day, like cups of it,
Mm-hmm.
When I have my little meal, usually in the maybe somewhere between 5 and 7 at night, I'll have a small meal, and then I don't drink any of that plasma. So I'm just like, it's salty.
Yeah.
And of
it's
course I'm eating
incredible.
out, right? I'm eating out. So whatever's in there. But that all day long when I'm just drinking my coconut water, maybe some sugarcane juice, maybe some dragon fruit. Oh, it's so yummy.
Yeah.
Like yummy. And
Yeah.
actually if I have a coffee, I was going to mention this to you. Have you ever been to a Japanese restaurant and they serve green tea and it tastes toasted?
Yes.
That's what it tastes like to me.
Yeah,
Not the green tea part, but the
Oh,
toasted part.
Yeah, that's
so
like
good.
the toasted rice that they put
Toasted
in
rice. That's
there.
what it tastes like from when I
Yeah.
have a coffee.
My boiled plasma, it reminds me of like sage and rosemary. It's like this
Ooh.
herbal, earthy.
I don't drink my boiled. I save. That's
No,
all.
just
I'm
the
using it
smell.
topical. Oh, got you. Okay. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Tell me, oh wise one.
I do use it to brush my teeth, though.
Oh yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing fresh for that.
It's
actually.
pretty crazy,
Mostly.
hey? Like how much that's replaced. Okay, body lotion. Okay, toothpaste.
Right. My teeth are getting within days. My teeth were getting whiter.
Yeah,
So
hey?
again, subscribed.
Yeah.
I'm subscribing to this because
Yeah.
I'm seeing and feeling the immediate results.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to do it for months just to
I
get a
know,
little bit
right?
of like headway.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And now I'm coming up to a year now.
Yeah,
which
that's
is just
amazing. April
nuts.
5th?
Yeah. And this morning, I actually really like doing the enema with a little bit of coffee.
Oh, okay.
A little, the aged plasma
Right.
with a little bit of coffee.
Right.
I don't know, it goes in easier.
Okay.
There's not as much spillage. It's like it,
Thickens.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not thicker. It's just like the coffee, it seems
Viscosity?
to absorb. It
Oh.
goes in, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, we've known about coffee enemas for a long time, so putting those two together could be some kind of magic alchemy.
Yeah, a lot of the, some people in the plasma community, they do the blending like
Right.
that. And the first time I did it, I was like, ooh. And that's how we got off drinking coffee. as we started drinking it. I'm like, you're gonna
Until my
Anyway.
body tells me not to, I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm still okay
still
with it.
having coffee.
And the taste of my plasma after I ingest something to me is like I was saying, asking my body for the immediate feedback, which I haven't had. But the plasma is that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, ew, this is gross.
how-
I don't like this.
This is how they figured out the Ayurvedic flow. You can really see that connection, hey?
So at this
They
point
would
in time,
take the
coffee
herb-
tastes amazing.
Mm.
So I don't have any qualms about it. I do realize it's acid forming.
Mm.
So, and there's that whole 80-20, like eat 80% alkalizing
Having a
foods,
balance.
and you're 20% or less acid forming,
Yeah.
which isn't difficult the
You've-
way I'm eating right now.
Right. I was just gonna say, you don't have to. You really only have to be in tune with how you're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
because your body is like, it's not gonna be fun to drink more coffee than.
Oh gosh, no. I'm a one and done. Like if I have more, I get get anxious and then I get angry.
Yeah.
So we know.
Yeah.
Just a little, just in moderation. Yeah. And maybe one day I'll be off it, but I'm not judging. I'm not worried about it. I'm not judging
Yeah.
myself
At some
on
point,
it.
I do want to be off it. Like
Mhm.
when I still really this whole sailing thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like by the time I see myself there, I see myself as a really different person when I
Right.
get this. I gotta have coffee every day on a sailboat.
Right. I would say if I have a weakness, so my weakness used to be relationships, like with men. I mean, like romantic relationships. And I too did I was very codependent.
Yeah.
And my self-worth, that doesn't those words don't quite resonate for me. I could probably fine tune that. But let's just say my self-worth was very wrapped up in the other. In the other, and I would focus a lot on the other, right? Because it was easier. And so I'm not exactly, I couldn't pinpoint what shifted in me. And now I've had long times in between my last number of years, have a long-term relationship, 5-year relationship, whatever, and then have like 3 years, and then just kind of, and it's almost a repulsion. That's again, that's a little much. Like if we could tune down the word repulsion just a little bit. Yeah, but there is. It's just kind of like, no, the magnets are set in the, and it's just like a pushing away.
Yeah.
And that's been a really good journey for me. But I'm gonna say the next thing that has been my next addiction that I'm fall into, because it's easy for me to not eat. Like that one's not really so difficult. Is alcohol, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, which that's the funny thing, is I never had, I would drink every once in a while with my friends, sure. Go out to the club. There's a party in the club. Sure. But actually in the Bahamas, I think is when it started, because it was like there was nothing to do. When people got together in a social environment, it was drinking.
Yeah. Hey.
And that's what it was. And there's yummy Caribbean drinks.
Yeah.
So that was like dessert. That's a treat.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of having a brownie, it's like, oh yeah, I'll have a cocktail.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that started it, because before that, my parents, my family, when they get together, they like to drink. Like, I don't mean their faces off, but they'll have drinks.
Sure.
And I was always like, eh. And they're, they always thought I was kind of a spoiled sport, sort of. But no, there became, in my loneliness, in my seclusion. So after leaving the Bahamas and the seclusion of COVID and blah, 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 that was how to have fun on my own, have a couple drinks. And now now it's party time.
Right.
This is excitement. This is me in the mirror. We're dancing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my friend. And now I'm at the club.
Yeah.
Wow. And that became a bit of a crutch.
Yeah.
I don't mean like a daily drink myself into a stupor.
But
the
recognizing
the
that
reliance.
could where it go.
Yeah. For sure. And
there.
it is a drug.
Come
And
on.
I think there's a consciousness to alcohol also. that gets a little grippy grip on you.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Alcohol, spirits, right? They call
Yeah.
it spirits.
Yeah.
So there's some writings out there, or, knowingness out there to suggest, yeah, it has a consciousness and it's not a great one.
No.
Right. So that's my next one. I still, every once in a while, it's like, oh, I just want to break outside of myself.
Yeah, hey.
Right?
This is the separation that we feel from nature. Cuz you're going to find people are going to find some way. If you keeping the plant medicine away, I think, and all of that, the knowledge of the plant medicine, and just we go to pharmaceuticals now instead of going to
An herbalist.
Right.
The apothecary.
Right. And not just that, but like
the witch.
Yeah, and the whole structure of how we're of how you're raised sort of has a big part to play in that. But anyway, like whether it's people will find a way to trigger that in them, with rolling in the grass, like to trigger that liberation, that joy, that what you're saying, of what you're looking for there. It can be done in positive ways.
Naturally. Yeah.
It's just that Rupert Sheldrake talks about this with his morphic resonance. It's all habits.
Yeah, habits. And that's why I said it's so brave to be in the same environment and choose to, you have the awareness and to choose, I'm going to do this differently.
Yeah.
I'm in the same place with the same peoples.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do this differently.
Right.
The deep dive into authenticity, that's an opportunity. Like, that's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you just change the whole environment, change the people, change, and wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah, yeah.
So the courage that it takes to want to change and still be in the same environment.
Yeah.
In the same relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And as Lee was saying this morning, like, where is there has to be support for the people who are like him, with all that anger. And what even if these people still need to heal too. You can't just like, we'll break up and we'll forget about him, and he's like,
right.
Who cares? But
the invitation to heal is still there. Yeah, that doesn't go away just because the person is not there anymore.
Sure, but there's it's true that there's more support for like the people who have the most violence in them, have the sort of like the least amount of social support.
Absolutely. And that's addictions, right? Also, numbing the pain.
Yeah.
I had I've always
and
had
then
rage,
labeling people as like, forever, like, fear of that. When Lee was like, "Hey, do the body magic right now." And I was this flood came into me of like all this judgment. All this, like, it was like the internet was a stream of judgment coming towards
projected
me.
from your own consciousness.
Yeah, it's freaking crazy.
I've dealt with rage since I was young. I don't know when it started, but I can remember having temper tantrums as a child. Now, my mom was really great about this because she'd just be like, "Go to your room." And it's my own stuff. So if I want to throw things around,
sure.
Hey, I'm only hurting myself, right?
Yeah.
I was pretty smart. I never really broke anything I cared too much about. Even in the rage, right?
Yeah, Lee's pretty selective.
Like exactly.
A $2 stool.
Right. So I've dealt with that, like, pretty much. And I think that, people fall into, they either have anxiousness or the anger, and it's all the same. So when I look at the rage, I'm like, it's not going my way.
Yeah.
Things are not going my way. Well, who is this person that thinks they have a way? Like, mine.
Yeah.
You know, so examining, that's your ego.
Yeah.
Your ego's having a temper tantrum, which is really sadness and fear.
Yeah.
I don't have control. Things are not in my control. And so this little thing that ticked me off, that put me into a rage, has nothing to do with the existential fear
Yeah.
of things not going my way. It's out of my control. And that's a huge ego death there.
Yeah.
It's not your way, you know. There's
Yeah.
huge letting go.
Yeah.
And judgments, right? Judgment. Like
Yeah.
the anxiety is judgment.
Yeah.
The rage is judgment.
Yeah. So revealing.
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see how easy it is to just go with not go with it, but to get sucked into that the matrix pipe, you know, of, okay, you just turn the TV on and it tells you what to do.
Distracts you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just do that. And then when you don't want to go and look, like, part of me was like, okay, never mind. I know that the mask is nothing, but I'm just going to put it on. Well, it's just going to like take 2 weeks and everything will be done with.
Right. That's what we all thought.
And we'll just ignore, you know, we don't have to worry. We don't have to look at the truth over there.
Right.
It's okay.
Just ride it out.
Yeah.
Just ride it out.
Yeah.
Temporary discomfort. We'll just ride it out.
Yeah.
And then it went on and on and on.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it would do. Instead of just addressing it and facing it. And I think that's what so many people are caught in right now. They're just like, they don't even want to go there, because then they have to be responsible for, you have to be responsible for
yourself.
Your own.
Yep.
Yeah.
All your stuff.
Yeah. I used to say that all the time to my son. I'm like, healthcare isn't come from a card that you carry around in your wallet with a number on it. That's not where health comes from. It comes from you, like,
caring for yourself.
You know, deciding for yourself what's right for you and what's not right for you.
And we know when we're doing something that's ultimately not a good idea. Like, we know.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
There's an internal sense of balance or homeostasis, and we know when it's...
Yeah.
Even you could deny it. You could try to muffle it.
Sure.
There's still an awareness.
Yeah, there is an underlying thing there, but for sure, yeah. But there's also the whole the when you're really just, when that awareness isn't there. Well, how do I explain this? Because I still, I can't believe that I held Angus in my arms as a baby and, you know, let them put something into his body.
That's the version of what
I think
that was. You could go back and you could have a different story.
I'm like, why was it so easy for me to do that?
Because that's what everyone did and what they'd always done. And in your known familiar history, that was what you did. If you loved your kid, you took them and you got them
I know,
the vaccine. That is what you did. If you didn't, everyone would think you didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't have the knowledge. We did not have it.
Nuts. Well,
and
we
you
did.
also
we
had
just forgot.
Well, okay, yeah.
It's
if you want to look at
about
it that way, sure,
right?
Absolutely, sure.
But yeah, I get where you're going.
Yeah,
it's nuts. So I had to really, that was another recapitulation thing.
Absolutely.
Just coming to terms with being okay with that and forgiving myself for.
How do you feel about your parents taking you to go get your vaccinations as a child?
Yeah, my mom talks about it so nonchalantly, that's what we did.
Well, that's what it was.
I know, right? And I'm like,
Absolutely.
no, I want you to feel bad about it.
Oh, God. Ha jokes. Because you do, yeah.
Yeah.
And part of assigning yourself value is forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Absolutely.
mess it up. We're going to keep messing things up.
Sure.
There will never not be a time when you're not messing something up eventually, you know? So coming to terms with the imperfections of it all.
Yeah, and that's where the beauty really kind of
Exactly.
is, right? Like when
That's
I
where the
hold
magic
up
is.
the weaving pieces that I have, and it's imperfect,
Right.
and that's sometimes when I'm looking at the bigger pieces that I have, the textiles, and I'm like, oh, I wonder, like, you hold it up and let the light shine through, and you can see where some of the weaving is like a bit tighter, and then it's like a little bit looser, and
Right.
it's like
because
you're
a
looking at the
human made it.
yeah, and it's like I wonder what the emotion is that's attached to
Oh,
that.
interesting.
Yeah, and she missed the white thread in this part here,
Right.
like where
What was going on there?
Yeah, so cool.
And we think about our own weaving of our own lives.
Right, that's
and
exactly what's
the
happening.
string that's the color that's missing, or and
Right.
again, remember, that's a judgment.
Yeah,
That's totally a judgment.
yeah. There's nothing missing.
It is what it is. Perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, my
amazing.
neck is getting a little sore
Yeah.
from craning this way.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
I'm going to stop streaming. And thanks, everyone, for watching, if you are. And, yeah, I'm totally into having conversations about any of this. And I'm engaging mostly on Matrix because it's like my little safe, familiar space with my familiar friends there.
You have to remember,
So-
not everybody knows what that is. I did not know what
I
that
know.
was. And a
It's-
lot of things that we've discussed, not everybody would know. What is plasma? What are they talking about?
Yeah, they can find out.
What
We
is-
don't need to
you know,
say it.
Right. I'm just saying, like, to put little
Yeah,
things in your,
yeah, I might do that.
I don't know.
But
Just
my
a
contact is there if there's any
Right.
questions. And I'm totally into doing like live one-on-ones right now, and just having conversations, and eventually I'll maybe participate in open dialogue in the YouTube chat, but not right now. Not yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bizarre world. Thanks,
Yeah,
Taj.
absolutely. Good chat.
Thanks so much. Maybe we do one more. Who knows? Before
knows?
you
Yeah.
depart.
Yeah.
It'd be wild. All right. Signing out from the Weaving Center in Luang Prabang.